Hi everyone, before I begin my presentation, I would like to show the members of our group. 刘锦梦、刘一奇、冯胜南、林瑞、韩松. The theme we choose is how the Forbidden City in Beijing used documentary format to enhance the public's understanding of complex cultural relics knowledge. In this analysis, we will focus on China's long cultural background and the advantages of documentary as a means of communication, and explain how the Forbidden City helps the public better understand cultural relics knowledge through documentary format. In the past, the Forbidden City mainly displayed the cultural relics to the public through explanation, academic research, and educational activities. But the traditional display methods often fail to convey the depth knowledge and cultural connotations behind the cultural relics. How to make complex cultural relics knowledge more vivid and easy to understand, where maintaining professionalism and accuracy has become a challenge facing modern museums. Documentary has unique advantages over traditional display methods. First, visual impact through the lens presentation, the details and historical background of the cultural relics will vividly displayed, allowing the audience to understand their artistic value and cultural connotation more intuitively. Second, storytelling. Through storytelling, the complex cultural restoration process, artistic techniques, historical background, etc. Integrative into the plot to help the audience understand the professional knowledge more easily. Third is emotional resonance through expert explanation and vivid narratives. Documentaries can trigger emotional resonance in the audience, making it easy for them to get involved, thereby stimulating interest in cultural relics. Fourth, easy to spread and share. Documentaries are suitable for wide dissemination through channels such as television and the internet, so that more people can access cultural relics knowledge. For example, I report the National Treasures and the Forbidden City 100 are two successful cases of the Forbidden City in spreading cultural relics knowledge through documentaries. In particular, the documentary I report the National Treasures not only demonstrates the professional techniques and scientific methods of cultural relic restoration, but also brings the audience close to cultural relics through the restores personal stories and emotional descriptions. Therefore, we can see that documentaries has greater potential in the future. Museums and cultural institutions can further explore innovative forms of documentaries and use this means of communication to improve the communication effect.
Hi everyone, many focus on the cross-cultural communication strategy, the application of digital tech and audience interaction mechanism to report on the current state of research. So I will introduce from Chinese schooner and overseas schooner in two charts. The first one is current state of overseas research. Overseas schooner have constructed a relatively mature theoretical framework, mainly focused on the two directions of cross-cultural communication theory and communication empowered by technology innovation. In the part of narrative localization and emotion-driven strategies, Ni Xiaolong's research shows that while maintaining the core cultural authorities, the type of documentary will establish a strong link between the past and the present, the individual and the history, the traditional aesthetic and the modern design, the reality and the function, in order to make it more attractive and acceptable to the public on 2022. On the other hand, in the part of technology innovation and communication effectiveness, in 2018, Frank and Dre demonstrated that VR technology enhanced the viewer's perception of the uniqueness of cultural heritage through immersive experience. However, the limitation in the lack of quantitative analysis and the need for a deep validation of the impact of technology innovation on long-term cultural perception effects. So, Chinese schooner research mainly covered two directions. One is communication practice and one is audience research. In communication practice, Chinese research have focused on documentaries such as Master in Forbidden City and the Forbidden City 100. Li Mengxue pointed out that this work has significantly enhanced the domestic and the international recognition of the Forbidden City's culture and provided a practical case for building cultural competence. The third part is audience research and the communication effects evaluation. Domestic scholars have also evaluated audience acceptance and the communication effects through a combination of quantitative and quantitative methods. The study of Liu Suqi showed that there is insufficient quantitative research on audience data, especially the long-term influence mechanisms of communication is to be further expects. So in summary, Chinese research and international studies has their own focus. However, there's still much room for improvement in terms of long-term effect evaluation of specific cases and the systematic research on cross-cultural communication strategies. So later, more detailed research will be carried out by my teammate around these shortcomings.
Hello everyone, I'm Liu Jinmeng. I would like to introduce you to the main content of our selected literature, which is mainly divided into three parts. The first part is an exploration of the integration of science popularization paths and disciplines in museums as an important place for cultural communication, how to promote the popularization and inheritance of cultural heritage through popular science activity and diversified communication channels has been a hot topic. Taking the first and the second articles in this table as examples, the similarity between the two is that they both focus on the diversity of museum science popularization functions, but Huang Fei pays more attention to the internal logic of discipline integration, while Du Wei pays more attention to the external factors of museum operations, such as market and communication strategies. The second part focused on the study of documentaries about the Forbidden City, especially the documentary series I Repair Cultural Relics in the Forbidden City. In the third documentary, Guo Shi'e explores the alternative connection between museum space and the audience through this documentary. He believes that the documentary is not only a record of the process of artistic restoration, but also through the presentation of individual stories. Cai Xiaohang is the author of the fourth documentary. He studies from the perspective of visual editing and believes that the visual presentation of documentary is not only a representation of history, but also a stimulation of the audience's senses and emotions. The third part mainly discusses the communication of documentaries in the context of new media. With the rapid development of the new media environment, the distribution channels and audience groups of documentaries have undergone significant changes. Also, taking I Repair Cultural Relics in the Forbidden City as an example, Zhang Liyan, the author of the fifth documentary, analyzes how the documentary disseminated Chinese culture through YouTube and other platforms, and promoted the cultural awareness and the cultural confidence of international audiences. The author of the sixth article, Wang Fengbiao, discusses the communication effect of this documentary in the context of the internet from the perspective of the audience mechanism of new media communication. Okay, this is an overview of the main content of our literature review, and due to the time constraints, I will not cover all the literature on the table. And next, my classmates will conduct a critical analysis for you. Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the documentary I Repeal Culturally released in the Forbidden City and share some critical thoughts on it, especially regarding its role in spreading Chinese culture. This documentary is successful in showing how important it is to preserve cultural heritage by focusing on the everyday work of the restorers at the Forbidden City. It connects modern viewers with traditional culture in a very emotional way, which is why it resonates with so many people. However, while it has been successful, there are also many issues with the way it's being studied and understood. First, most of the research on the documentary focuses only on this single example. While it's great to learn from the documentary, researchers rarely compared it with other cultural documentaries, which limits the broader lessons we can learn. Many studies also focus too much on the content of the documentary itself and forgot to consider how important the platforms and the social media are in helping it research its audience. Those external factors are really important but are often overlooked. Second, most studies are based on qualitative research, which means they rely on opinions and descriptions rather than hand data. For example, some studies talk about the audience reactions but don't dig into actual data like how viewers interact with the documentary on media. This means it's harder to trust some of the conclusions drawn to truly understand how well the documentary communicates culture. We need to look at more data-driven research.
Thanks to my teammates for sharing. I'm Liu Yiqi. Now I will be responsible for the problem statement. For the public, the complexity and depth of the knowledge contained in cultural relics often pose challenges to their understanding and participation, especially for tourists and audiences without a historical or artistic background, who find it difficult to fully appreciate the significance, historical background, and the craftsmanship of these cultural relics. Although traditional communication methods, such as exhibitions, can provide certain information to the public, they are still limited in showing the multi-dimensional stories, cultural connotations, and fine craftsmanship of cultural relics. Documentary is a media communication form that combines visual appeal and narrative ability. It can expand the details of cultural relics through images, allowing the audience to intuitively feel the historical background and the delicate craftsmanship behind the cultural relics. Through the above analysis, we can see that although the relevant research on the topic of how the Forbidden City in Beijing used documentary format to enhance the public's understanding of complex cultural relics knowledge is very rich and in-depth, there are still some limitations and areas that need further exploration and research. Current research still focuses on the short-term improvement effect of using this format to spread complex cultural relics knowledge to the public, focusing on theoretical derivation and phenomenon description. However, there is a relative lack of long-term effect research, such as long-term dynamic tracking analysis of promoting public cultural cognition, and most researchers only focus on 2 or 3 documentaries, such as I Repeal Cultural Relics in the Forbidden City, that have achieved great success. The lack of theoretical guidance from a long-term development perspective may hinder the future development of this field to a certain extent. Therefore, we will explore and research the long-term effect of using documentary format to spread complex knowledge about cultural relics related to the Forbidden City to the public. This will play an important role in improving society's awareness of cultural heritage and enhancing the public's overall cultural literacy, and can provide theoretical guidance for future development in this field. That's all of our group want to share today. Thank you for listening.